You are tuned to Kenneth Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
We've been doing this show some 35 years, and I have enjoyed it. I tell you, I have met so many interesting people with so many interesting stories, and we have one of those tonight for you. We have a lady born and raised in southeast Missouri, and we're going to introduce her to you. First, I want you to see a little bit of the show that she has been part of. She was a radio and a TV personality back in the 40s and 50s. Let's show you just a minute of things she did.
Music with the Hormel Girls. Music with the Hormel Girls. This is Marilyn Wilson and the all-girls show Music with the Hormel Girls, transcribed from Fort Myer, Virginia.
Hormel ham, the famous Hormel ham.
Hormel ham.
There's still time, folks, to order the finest ham for your Christmas dinner.
The famous Hormel ham.
And here she is. This is Marilyn Wilson Ritter.
With Music with the Hormel Girls. Well, we did that because George Hormel Company thought that the women were sort of neglected a little bit.
Were neglected after they came out of service?
After they came out of service. So he wanted to do something for them. And he started a show.
Okay. And you were the announcer.
Yes, we had.
Did you have that?
We were, and we had to interview for that. We didn't just go in and announce, and we had different parts of the show.
What did he ask you in the interview? Do you remember any of the things he asked?
Where were you in the service? What did you do?
Okay, now, you had to have two requirements. You had to have a musical talent, and then you had to have been in service. What service were you in?
The Coast Guard.
And this was what, SPAR? Was that the...
that was SPAR, Coast Guard SPAR.
And what did you do? Were you on a boat? Were you...
No, I played trumpet in the orchestra, the band.
Okay.
We were in Washington, D.C.
All right, now, you said you were in the Coast Guard, SPAR. Yes. Now, what does SPAR stand for?
Stands for Semper Paratus, always ready.
Okay.
That's what it stands for.
Semper Paratus, always. That sounds impressive. Now, you went in for this interview. And tell me how it went.
And he hired me right away. I was the second one.
Okay, you played the trumpet, and did he like your voice?
He liked my voice, and he let me speak a lot.
Okay, you did the announcing for the program. Let's hear you do it.
It's Music with the Hormel Girls.
Music with the Hormel Girls. This is Marilyn Wilson and the all-girls show Music with the Hormel Girls, transcribed from Fort Myer, Virginia.
Okay. All right. And you did it like that.
Well, we started out with sales personnel, and I think it was before we went into the competition, drum and bugle corps competition.
Oh, so you were a drum and bugle corps. Okay, and there were, I believe, I remember some of the publicity said there were only 6 of you hired.
To begin with.
To begin with. And then, so what were you hired to do at that point?
At that point, the drum and bugle corps hadn't been formed, so we were doing some selling of the Hormel products.
All right. Is that when you had this huge caravan of white cars?
It grew to that.
It grew to that. Okay.
Gradually grew.
And how many people at the most would you say worked in there? How many women did he hire?
Well, they would come and go. I would say 60 at the most.
Okay, and you would have this long string of cars, what, sometimes 30 or 40 cars?
60.
60 cars, and 2 to a car. And what would you do? Go into different towns? Did you
We'd
have a
We'd
schedule?
go into the commercial towns, cities, and then we would go out from there into the smaller towns each week and sell.
Okay.
So we would spread out.
Now, how much did you get paid for this?
$80 a week
Ooh.
plus commission.
Okay, $80 a week was great pay for
Good pay.
Yes, good pay. And commission. So part of your thing was to go in to talk to the grocers or the buyers or
And give them tickets to our show and invite them to come to our show.
okay, tickets to your show. So you did have a routine that you did.
Yes, yeah.
And where would you do this show? Would you go to school gymnasiums? Would you?
Wherever the commercial area was big enough. If they had a big gymnasium, we wouldn't necessarily go,
Okay.
because I wanted them to come to my town. And they said, well, it's not commercially big enough to spread, you know.
Capitalizing on their musical talent and military backgrounds, the Spam Post 570 marched in competitions across the United States. Marilyn Wilson was one of the first to join.
I'd say there were 60 girls. We had to have a complete group to make a good sound. So it was an intense training. But we had already known how to march. See, we're all from service bands anyhow.
Mr. Hormel was immensely proud of their success and recognized the great advertising potential of his all-girl band.
We had a trumpet player who was excellent. We had a pianist, we had drummers who were excellent. And they would get together for jam sessions in the evenings. And that's when Mr. Hormel heard them and decided maybe there's something there besides drum and bugle corps.
All right. Now you spoke of the shows. We've got some of the original shows on our TV footage. We'll show that right now.
With the Hormel Girls.
You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good.
That was Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This is Marilyn Wilson and the all-girls show Music with the Hormel Girls, transcribed from Fort Myer, Virginia.
Hormel ham, the famous Hormel ham.
Hormel ham.
There's still time, folks, to order the finest ham for your Christmas dinner. The 6 3/4 pound size Hormel canned ham with enough meat for 20, or the quarter size ham for 5. Even though you're planning on having turkey, serve a Hormel ham too. You'll find the meal doubly festive, enjoying the unmatched goodness of Hormel ham.
The famous Hormel ham.
Back to music with a holiday flavor. Lois Aubley and Bonnie Burke join the Hormel All-Girl Orchestra and Chorus in Winter Wonderland.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane.
Okay, so that sounded really good for the show that you were doing at that time. Now, tell me how your original week would go. What would you do? You would get in the car and leave, and what did you do?
Well, on Monday morning, we had a crew of men with us. They would bring us our cars to the door of the hotel, and we'd get in there and go out, and we'd have a list of maybe 25 stores to call on. And we would make our calling list, and if we could, we'd sell.
Now, you had a little bag of Hormel products, I believe I saw. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and you would sell.
Mm-hmm.
And
if they wanted some, if they were low, we'd check their shelves. And if their shelves were low on Hormel products, well, we'd sell them.
What was your favorite Hormel product?
I think chili con carne.
Plenty more beef stew. The big meal in the big can. Hormel chili con carne.
Hormel ham, the famous Hormel ham.
Hormel ham.
Okay, all right, that was good. And Spam was, I used to take Spam with me when we'd go overseas to the communist countries when there was nothing to buy.
I know.
Oh, Spam was really and this is in the 90s.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Right. So you would go in and sell to the grocer for, do your route and try to sell products. And then what? When would you rehearse for the show?
Then we would go in on, let's see, it was a Friday, and rehearse for the show on Saturday.
Okay.
Which would be broadcast live. No, it wouldn't be live. It would be on Saturday.
Okay, on Saturday. And would you give out tickets for this radio show?
Yes.
Tickets were a big thing for the...
The grocers got tickets for the show.
Okay, so they really liked for you all to come to town.
Oh, yes.
Now, were you usually in military uniform as you went around to sell? Did you keep your drum and bugle corps or uniform on?
I thought we had a regular Hormel uniform.
Oh, you did have a Hormel uniform at that time. Just two to a car? Did you women drive? Did one of you drive, or did you have a driver?
Most of the time, they both drove. Take turns.
Okay. All right. So,
but my roommate didn't, so I did all the driving.
Okay. All right. And you stayed at nice hotels when you went into the town, and really it was a luxurious, it was a great job, wasn't it?
It was a good job.
Now, when it went to TV, how did it change drastically from the radio? How did the program change?
They wanted to go into TV, but they never did.
All right, now, do you remember about the radio stations? What stations were you on?
We were on all networks.
All networks. ABC?
NBC, CBS.
Big time, big time. Now, how many years did you actually do this?
I myself did it for 2 years and wish I had stayed for 6, because I think that's what they did.
So the whole thing went on for 6. Now, did you decide that you would stop and do something else? Or
yes, I decided.
Did you get married at that point?
I did.
Was that what it was that took you out of being a Hormel?
And had a little girl.
And you had a little girl. And hey, people know who this little girl is. That just dawns on me. They know who this little girl is. Let's bring her in and set her beside you, because people are going to recognize who she is.
This is my daughter, Lynn.
And you know her. This is Lynn Gary. Everybody in this town knows Lynn. Lynn, and actually Lynn was the one who mentioned that her mom was here and that had this glorious past, and she talked about it to you as a child, I bet.
Well, yes, and I took an interest in it when we started going through a lot of her old pictures, and I saw the volume of things and started asking her a lot more questions about, I think I was very impressed that she served her country, and she's a woman veteran, and she was a pharmacist mate in the Coast Guard. I don't think she actually mentioned that. Pharmacist mate as well as playing in the orchestra. She marched in FDR's funeral procession when the president died. You marched in front of the caisson on the Coast Guard in the Coast Guard band. And
Well, it wasn't a band at that time. It was they didn't music. They just marched.
oh, marched. Okay, a drill, like
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
drills.
Okay. All right. So you see how we get these programs. We said if anybody knows of interesting subjects, and Lynn came up with this, and we have enjoyed coming out and
Thank you.
talking with you and hearing about your experiences.
Thank you.
It's been marvelous.
I appreciate that.